Welcome to Mood Food with Melissa. I'm Melissa and I'm so excited to be sharing one of my favorite recipes with you today. Today we're going to be making my famous Tahini Dream Kale Salad using the Tahini Dream dressing that I showed you how to make in one of my previous episodes. This salad is one of my personal favorites. It's an excellent make-ahead meal option for when you're cooking for yourself at home. It's excellent for entertaining as well. Whenever I serve this for my own guests or for my catering clients, even people that aren't health conscious are always impressed by how delicious this dressing and this salad is. So to start, all we have to do is just kind of assemble a few things because we've already done all the work when we made our dressing. So we're going to start with a generous amount, but we don't want to go too much because we obviously can always add more, but we can't take it out. So I'm going to start with about a cup of dressing. And in this bowl, I have about a pound, 16 ounces of chopped kale. Now, you can of course buy kale and rinse chop it yourself, but I do like to make things easy on myself when I can, so I just buy the kind that comes pre-bagged at the store. I go for the organic, and that tends to just make things really easy and cuts a lot of the prep time down. But of course, you can always just chop your own kale if you have time for that. So what we're doing here is we're just massaging the dressing into the kale. And as we massage the dressing in, we're doing two things. We're mixing the dressing so that it gets mixed in with the kale, but we're also kind of breaking down those cellular walls of the kale a little bit to make it a little less firm and kind of force it into a little bit of a wilted, relaxed state, just so it's not as crunchy. Of course, we do want a nice crunch in our salad, but we don't want it to just be raw kale. So when you're massaging, you really want to squeeze the kale. You want to be rough with it and just keep turning and tossing. I kind of use these twisting motions with my fists when I'm mixing. And you can see I'm wearing gloves here. You can of course do this with your bare hands if you have time to wash them all over again. You can also just use tongs or whatever makes sense, but really you won't get that same massaged effect if you're not using your hands. So I recommend, if you're scared of getting your hands dirty, just pop on a pair of gloves, but you're really gonna wanna get in here with your hands. All right, so this is definitely looking like it'll need some more dressing. And of course, this is a matter of taste, but you'll wanna keep in mind that as the kale continues to wilt a little bit, it will release a little more liquid and it will loosen up the dressing. So you don't want it to be drowning in dressing. And I'm not sure if you can hear on the camera here the difference in the sound, but you're getting more of like a squish than a crunch. And that means that we're getting the massaging done correctly. So I think this is looking like a good amount of dressing for me, for now at least. I'm an extra dressing kind of girl, so there's a good chance I'll add a little more in later, but I think this is looking really nice. And you can see too that the volume of the kale reduced by about half. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're serving. If you are serving, at an event, or if you're entertaining at home and you want a nice full bowl of salad, just remember that it's gonna shrink down to about half the size. So if I wanted to serve in this particular bowl, I would wanna double this batch or just use a smaller bowl to serve in. So this is ready to go. And you can see we have these stems in here. I think they're fine. You can pick them out if it bothers you. I know some people really don't like the stems, but they don't bother me, so I just leave them in. All right. So this is basically the entire recipe done already. We're just gonna add a few little things to add some texture and some color to this dish. So now that we have our kale all massaged and ready to go, we're just gonna start plating it up. To do an individual portion, you're just gonna wanna grab about a handful, maybe a little more than that. And add that to the plate there. Depending on how comfortable you are with your knife skills, you can do your watermelon radishes one of two ways. And to be honest, you can use any radish for this dish, but I really like to use the watermelon radishes because you get this beautiful, vibrant pink color that provides just such gorgeous contrast with our tahini kale salad here. So if you feel like you have pretty good knife skills, you can go ahead and just go for a little matchstick where you're just cutting everything into thin strips and then you're cutting them down into those little matchstick shapes. Or if you want to make things easy on yourself, just do a rough chop and call it confetti, and they both look beautiful on the dish. So for our individual dish, we're going to use our matchstick watermelon radishes so that we can get a little extra height on there. I always think that that makes the plates look extra nice when you get a good height on there. It's Got a nice little pile. And of course you can plate this all different ways. I like to have kind of the little heap in the middle going on and then have the green around it. And then we're also gonna finish it with a little bit of everything but the bagel seasoning. And I love this as a finish on this dish, not only for the flavors that it brings, but it gives an excellent little crunch factor. So you're going to get like a fresh crunch from the radish, and you'll get that little bit of a peppery flavor that'll offset some of the sweetness in our dressing. And then this is going to give you that like crunchy, savory little bit of like sesame flavor pop in there. So we'll just drizzle a little bit of that over the top, and our salad is ready to go. Now I'll also show you how I would plate this if I was going to be serving it family style. So we'll just set this off to the side for now. And this bowl, as I mentioned, is a little bit big for the salad. If I were serving it at home or for an event, I would probably go with something that's a little bit smaller so that I could get more height going on, but this is still gonna work really well. So we can just start with the everything seasoning on this one. So we'll just do a good amount of everything seasoning so that we're getting a good layer on there. We wanna see a little bit over the whole top, but we don't want it to be like drowning in seasoning either. So you can see on the camera there, like what I'm doing. And I think that looks good. And then we'll go with our confetti radishes. And so these are just roughly chopped. They're all different sizes, they're different shapes. It doesn't matter, they're gonna look beautiful. So we'll go ahead and add those in, sprinkle them around. And I think I might actually also add a few more of these since we have them and they look so nice. Give that a little height in the middle, kind of rearrange our kale a little bit, and we have a beautiful salad ready to serve. So there you have it. Now you can impress your guests with the same tahini dream salad that I serve at my events. And you can also add a new meal prep recipe to your rotation. You can find this recipe along with many more of my favorites at moodfoodwithmelissa.com.